Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Yusril, and this is the Tribble Timewarp. It is the 12th of October 2013, and the new Federation tutorial has made its debut. It has a few bugs that are going to be fairly obvious, including a couple of absolute showstoppers in one of the away missions. Certain enemies just aren't spawning, and that's breaking the scripting, but we'll come to those in a minute. Right, so let's see, a new Federation character. We'll go with Tactical, because the Galaxy always needs another red shirt. Let's have a look at the race, if I haven't looked at some of this for an age. I have to know that some of these, if you're completely new to the game, are going to be a little awkward to judge. So, for example, Ferengi, 20% off all energy credit in gold price item. Well, hey, 0.33 resistance to toxic radiation. Yeah, what does that mean? Plus 10 perception? Huh? Okay, so maybe the descriptions here need to be tweaked a little for the complete I don't have a clue what's going on here character. Alright, let's go with eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Oh, why not? Let's go with Vulcan. Next, appearance. Uniform type hasn't changed since they last overhauled this with Legacy of Romulus. Stick with the standard. Background, you can randomize name. Taulak, why not? I don't think I want to be named after a bottomless sauce. Why not? This ship's going to get dumped at level 11 anyway. So, onwards. Let's see what the Academy has to offer. So, welcome to Star Trek Online. You get the accolade almost immediately. This tutorial will introduce you to the basic controls of Star Trek Online. Continue. Gives you your objective, move forward. A difficulty worthy of Starfleet officers. And then it makes you wait for the guidance.
To move, use the W, A, S, and D keys. To look around, hold down the right mouse button and move your mouse.
This is something that really ought to be tightened up. That really should be coming in immediately on getting rid of the pop-up window. A couple of details first. Chat window. This could just be a legacy of the fact that STO was originally built for slightly lower resolutions, but if you're at 1920 by 1080, that chat window is far too small. Let's just resize that to something usable first. That was just a little bit of a server hiccup. Bear in mind I am working from the United Kingdom, and this test server I believe is in California. So, as you can see, it's put us into an Academy uniform by default. A couple of nice touches here. First off, the stripe here is based off your character class. No matter what uniform colours you have selected, you will be put into a correct Academy regulation uniform. Well, almost correct. You'll notice that collar pips here are missing, despite the fact that the character is supposedly a 4th year midshipman. If we head over to the cadets,
have icons above their heads. You can press the interaction key, default F, to talk with them.
Yes, thank you. Right, talk to Cadet Flores. You'll see on her collar, she has got the 4 pips for a final year midshipman. So, how could we remind me every day for this month? Did you get your assignment? Yes, she's going to be the new Tovan Kev, isn't she? Absolutely razor edge keen, a regular space cadet. Well, I suppose she might die by the end of the first mission if we're lucky. Okay, so we have Soren. This is basically introduce you to the cast. Let's take a quick look at the journal, see if this has changed. Klingon War. No, it hasn't, right? Or at least it will change, but they haven't updated it yet. So we have more cadets. Tavrel. Greetings, Rasky said you had something to tell me. My score increased by 12.8% on the second attempt, well within standard norms. You're a communications officer. I sincerely hope that you do better than 12.8% deviation from standard norms, because that's the difference between live long and prosper and have Sosli Kuch. Still, given Klingons, those could be rendered as the same thing. Let's move on. Class of 2409. You will note, by the way, that this is a variation on the standard Academy map. Cryptic have done this before, most notably with the Tau Dewa sector block. Hello, Cadet Morak. We'll all be full-fledged ensigns. Right. Okay. Definitely meet the cast. given that presumably by the end of this we'll be in command and we'll be down to 3 bridge officers, I suspect the body count on this mission is going to be rather high. Right, Lieutenant Ferrer. Okay, what do we have? Good afternoon, Cadet. What can I do for you? So I get the train zone? Yes, it is. Tarlac. Is there a problem? Ominous.
The direction of your objectives also appears on your compass.
Now, these doors are present in the Academy as it presently stands on the holodeck, although they're slightly smaller and they're better set into the wall. I have no idea why they changed all 4 of them, because only this door now does anything. Ring the bell. We really need the do-do-do sound effect from Next Gen for that, as well as voice work. I assume that's going to get added in another pass on this mission. Talk to Captain Taggart. Cadet, you asked to see me, sir? I did. Right, sir. This changes, by the way. If you're not a tactical career track, it will say, I thought that was not needed for science/engineering officers. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be taking the phaser program. Well, naturally, we have to learn how to shoot. Oh, and Space Cadet is running the tactical station. We're doomed. Mind you, she's Red Shirt in Chief, so she is also likely doomed. Or maybe she is going to be Tom and Kev. Who knows? Let's find out. She has moved across to here. Now, you'll notice the windows here are opaque. Now, something that I think would be a nice touch would be, given that we're around at the outside of the office here, would be if these were see-through, at least from the inside. I don't know whether that can be done. Can we have a reflective texture one side and see-through the other? It certainly wouldn't affect things because you don't have line of sight to Flores' position from here. You couldn't see it if she transported in. However, let's go talk to her. Hello, why didn't you tell me about that phaser training? Anyhow, everyone knows, well, almost everyone. Right. So this is a background thing. It said if you decide to just cut across the quad and head straight for the holodecks, it doesn't work. Not only will you incur the wrath of Hollow Boothby, well, not really, but it'd be a nice touch if you did, but you have to tag the waypoints with her, or the script doesn't advance. Well, George and Gracie are long since dead, and yes, Boothby is now a hologram here. You can talk to the cadets. I'm just waiting for a couple more grades. These appear to be fixed, most notably this Bajoran here. You'll notice he has got the earring and the nose ridges, that's a nice touch. And she's waiting for us. As I say, the game does wait for you to hit the waypoints with her before moving on. The various plaques are non-functional, ditto the memorial here.
Tap the shift key while moving.
Well, first round tonight, I suspect a large chunk of the crew is not going to live to tonight. Although that would make for an interesting callback if she dies during the mission. Just have your character nursing his sorrows and buying one for the dead at the end of it. So, Holodeck 2, do you have any advice? Shoot yourself, don't die. Program on survey shall make her assaulting. Oh, God. Presumably the variation is whereby you stay sober. And we'll need a phaser. Right, well, let's go. Interestingly, she is wearing black baseline rather than the dark blue and black that all the other cadets seem to be wearing. I don't know whether that's to make her stand out, or whether it's just a, you know what, let's just mess with the uniform a little. Anyhow, grab a phaser. Nice touch here, by the way. Your character holsters it onto his belt. I've no idea if that's a custom animation or not, but it's a nice touch. Anyhow, head on to Holodeck 2. Again, a little bit of a server hiccup there. So, in Holodeck 2, you'll notice that the mission hasn't updated here. If I move to the centre of the holodeck and tap the objective marker,
Center of the room and then target and destroy 5 holo targets.
this is in need of a bit of correction. Ideally, what I would have it say is move to the centre of the room and begin the program, and then when you begin the program, have it tell you enter the Klingon bridge and destroy the 5 targets. Incidentally, internally it's just moved us off the main map, as it were. Since you can zoom the minimap in and out and potentially break the immersion there, it might be worth just moving things a bit further on. It won't help, of course, if you simply pull up the main map, because there's no way you can move it far enough to take it completely off the grid, but hey, you haven't told them about the map as such, so you don't have to already know about M for this to work. The minimap, however, you can discover by accident. Anyhow, let's go kill some holographic Klingons. Right, so... well, let's do that. So, you'll notice that they aren't really moving at this point. Yes, shut up. So, it's told you how to do the first one. Do another one for practice. Now, at this point, the game could really compress things a bit further and tell you, okay, so that's one way to do it. You can also lock onto a target by left-clicking, press 2 to stun them, and then press 1 for the primary attack. And then, of course, you've got shooter mode. So just press B, mouse over the target, left-click for primaries, right-click for secondaries.
Certain actions are disabled. Once you drop out of combat, more detail about ground combat will become available.
Interesting, the game does not take the opportunity to give you that information, and indeed it then proceeds
Targeting. Lesson 1 of 6.
Yes.
Targeting. Primary attack. Lesson 2 of 6. Secondary attack. Lesson 3 of 6. Expose. Lesson 4 of 6. Exploit. Lesson 5 of... Flanking. Lesson 6.
Honestly, that is not a great way to tell people the basics of combat. Far better to show and have them do rather than just put it in a tutorial, even with voice work. Maybe I'm nitpicking. But since ground combat's a fairly big chunk of this game, I don't actually think I am. Right, Captain, nice of you to join me. Right, not going to break the Academy record. What do you mean? That was near perfect accuracy. However, oh dear, we're first officer. Right, you're definitely doomed, aren't you? Okay, an honor to be serving. Talk to Cadet Flaws. Right. Lots of pressure. These other options, by the way, are just flavour and responses.
Remember,
There's some
your
pretty good
objective
writing
location
here, it
can
has to be
also
said.
Found on your compass as well as your minimap.
And I think that black tunic is just to make her stand out. Captain Taggart, by the way, just walks around the corner and then transports out. Again, you'll notice that the game is waiting for us to hit the waypoints with this girl before it advances her script. And then we can turbo lift to the shuttle bay. Now, here we are. Right, so it automatically pops the dialogue window with Florence, but if you move away rather than acknowledging it, it will simply make you go back and talk to it. Now, this set, please can we have this set for the Foundry? I can see Starbase UGC doing some good things with this. However, right, so you get to meet all the cadets again. We have Miss Smooth Forehead over here, along with the various others. Given that we are going to end with 1 tactical, 1 engineering, and 1 science officer, and we're going to be in command, I'm prophesying at least 50% casualties during this mission. I mean, it's a cruiser full of cadets on a training mission. It's a simple milk run. All that could happen to increase the casualty chance is an admiral wanting to go on a joyride. Right, may I have everyone's attention? Okay, I think I double tapped F by accident there because it's supposed to give you a 3-way choice. No, it hasn't. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, wow. Is that because I've picked a Vulcan character? I think it is. It changes the dialogue choices. We will operate efficiently and effectively. If you take a human or a different option, it changes the dialogue. Someone has put a lot of thought into this mission. Oh, wow. Voice work might be a little too much to ask for here. If you consider the sheer number of races and genders and options available, there must be hundreds of lines to record for this one sequence. Anyhow, get the toast done. I need a glass there. We have an option to chat with the other cadets very quickly, although as you can see, Space Cadet has immediately torn off to the shuttle. Can I just take the bottle, please? On second thoughts, preferably, can I just take the case? Ugh. No? Right, fine, let's go aboard the shuttle. Interestingly, Vulcan character, they changed the dialogue because he was Vulcan. It would be interesting to see if they also changed the animation so that this character, as well as Tavrel, pop the Vulcan salute rather than a toast emote. That I was not expecting. Okay, let's go. Right, so I'm not sure if this is a little bit of a continuity glitch from an earlier past. You'll notice that we have a random ensign here acting as the shuttle pilot. I can't tell if she's an earlier version of Miss Space Cadet, but you'll see what I mean later when we get to the bridge. Anyhow, the Vesta gives us a quick introduction. It would be interesting to see, because at the moment you don't, the ship change based on your character class. So science officers get to see the Vesta, cruiser captains get the Odyssey, and tactical captains get, well, the Kumari is the obvious choice. But if you're looking to stick with classic Starfleet designs, either the Defiant or the Prometheus. Anyhow, then you get to introduce to the Miranda, and you begin to realise that actually no, what you've got is a beaten up antique rust bucket. You think you like her. Really, Cadet? So we have Cadet Flores here. You'll notice that the hairstyles are the same or similar, but the uniform is switching backwards and forwards. In the shuttle bay, she's an ensign. Anyhow, we'll talk to her again. See you there. And off she goes. Does this woman ever move at anything less than a jog or a sprint? Mind you, I'm not exactly walking myself. Acting tactical officer. Oh, wow. There are currently no androids stationed on board this ship. Well, I don't see that that matters. Armories are located on every deck, but are off limits to the cadets. Well, that makes sense. Let's face it, if you only get your phaser training the day before you ship out, cadet uniforms are required unless you're given a field promotion. Okay. Shuttle bay's a little on the large side from random. I don't know, maybe they refitted between then and now. Let's go. Oh, wait, I have to talk to Lieutenant Brickers first. In position, acting first officer, welcome aboard. Sir, eh? Well, I suppose technically we're first officer, even if she does outrank us both in commission and seniority. Right, let's go to the bridge. Turbolift needs a bit of a pass, both in lighting and some of the detailing on the control panels, but the bridge itself is really nice. I hope we get this as the standard bridge from here on in. Helmet Ops consoles down here. A couple of auxiliary consoles. Those of you who watch my Twitter feed will remember that when we first had the screenshot, I was wondering if we had Helmet Ops here, because of course these two are off to the side, as Brownflex pointed out. I still think the consoles are a little redundant and could use chairs, because, well, you'll see why in a second. Anyhow, Captain, good to see you. Welcome to the bridge number 1. Yeah, you'd be surprised how a Starfleet Academy cadet gets through 4 years of training without knowing what number 1 means. Well, apparently it can happen. Anyhow, get clearance, close the doors because losing the cadets out the back would be awkward. And we're good. Right, so disable track points. You'll notice Flores is back into her Academy uniform here. So, clear all moorings. Speaking of which, we really need the music cue Enterprise clears moorings for this scene. I'm just saying, I realise there's probably all sorts of copyright issues for it, but that's the kind of epic backing music you need for this. Anyhow, yeah, this is a nice callback, ironically enough, to Wrath of Khan. Thrusters only while in space dock. Well, everyone orders quarter impulse anyway. Although in this case... I'm not sure if that's scripted or not that he pulls a facepalm while you say that, but I think he's just cycling through random emotes, but that's a nice touch. Could just be coincidence. However, grab the seat, and out we go. Definitely need that music cue, though. Right, Flores is back in her duty uniform now. Yeah, that definitely needs another pass, which is awkward. Okay, course of Vulcan. Perhaps tweak the console layouts a little. I've had one occasion where the Helm Officer just sat there, arms folded, and still laid in a course of Vulcan. These new telepathic consoles are a great amendment to the ship. Unless your mind wanders off to that Orion you met the night before, in which case the view screen can get a little dodgy. The SS Break Even. Ye God, that's an unambitious name for a freighter, isn't it? A couple of lighting issues at the back. There we go, you can see it clearer there. Right. Again, I think we're going to get voice work for these. Now, for some reason, the game has you stand up at this point. I'm not sure whether that's an engine limit or if it's something in the scripting, but really, it should keep you in the chair at this point. Is this a tester? It's strange that it was audio only. This is the freighter Kobayashi Maru. We are 3 days out of Gamma Hydra. Right, so wait an hour on a distress call? Not a hope. Recommend we go to red alert. It's a little bit paranoid. So, yellow alert, shields up. Right, let's go. While we're in space here, something I want to bring up about this bridge set. First off, the glass here. I'm not sure whether this is something that's crept in with recent builds of the bridge, but you'll notice that the glass in the frames isn't really matching. Whether that's an effort to simulate reflection and refraction in the glass from the lighting, or whether it's just something out of line, I'm not sure, but it looks odd. It looks like half the bridge rails are hovering on nothing. Also, random touch that, again, I'm not sure if it's possible given what we can see of the forward source from here, but it would be a nice touch to be able to see the registry and the name. The game has demonstrated in the past that it's capable of lifting ship elements and data like that, for example, species and character models, and slotting them into cutscenes. I'm not sure whether it's possible to do it here. It might not be. Also, we've got some weird lighting anomalies here. I'm not sure whether it's just from the light source at the top of the bridge, because a lot of it seems overexposed, but it's very peculiar coming in directionally at that one point. It's almost as though there's a light source above the right-hand side of the bridge that's basically shining right past. In fact, you know what? I think that's exactly what's going on. There's a primary light source over here, give or take. And for some reason, it's not quite casting as it should. Also, just a thought as the dev team thinks of everything moment. If you go in here, nothing happens at the moment. However, it would be nice to have a pop saying, Cadet, number one, I realise you're new to this ship, but that's my ready room, not the turbo lifts. But since it doesn't, let's just get moving. You can use either turbo lift for this. There's a second one here. And when the server catches up, they all work. So, to the transporter deck. Again, turbo lifts need a lighting pass and a texture pass. You can see that we've got very little light in the foreground here. Anyhow. Not sure whether they can control the animations for characters here. Also, why is the red alert siren going at this point? We only ordered yellow. Oh dear. Well, that explains why it was audio only. Also, why have the two guys on the sides popped hand phasers rather than disruptors? So it's all gone horribly wrong, and we have our first dead body by the looks of it, and I apparently have a personal cloaking device. Okay, security is reporting disruptify in the transport room. Yes, we'd noticed. And we're being boarded. Yay, it was a trap. So... right, let's go. Again, I want this interior set on the Foundry. This is a real step up from the old interiors. Actually, below that, I just want this interior set as standard, full stop. We need to unlock the armory. There is actually meant to be a door here. I've had it spawn properly, I think, twice in about 5 runs. This is a recurring problem with this mission at the moment, and it turns into a sequence breaker later on. There we go.
Locker in this room and interact with it to get a better weapon.
I can't take one of these miniguns? No? No? Sod. Pity. Gonna have to make do with a standard phaser rifle then. Oh well.
Open your inventory, default key I, and double-click on your rifle to equip it.
Or right-click and
You can switch
equip.
between 2 equipped weapons by pressing Z.
And have it tell you to close your inventory again. This again would be a good moment to bring up shooter mode. Anyhow, Cadet Rozark, it was nice knowing you. Well, I don't know why you just stood there. Right, so that's better. Right. There we go. Nicely dealt with. Take us out of shooter mode and advance forwards. Well, that's one of the slowest decompressions I've ever witnessed. Also some of the slowest force fields I've ever witnessed either. There we go, force fields kicked in just long enough to ensure that anyone within about 10 meters does get sucked into fiery vacuum doom. And we can hear firing coming from in here, so let's go. That timing, by the way, really does need to be tightened up. Force fields should be engaging much quicker than they actually are. Also, we need a sound of rushing air on this, so let's go. Interesting introduction to flank attacks, setting things up perfectly.
Move towards the item and press F to loot it.
Also, looting. There we go. Right, I have been ordered to guard this area from further attacks. So first up, looting. Okay, so we have a hyper spray that we can use to quickly heal. Interestingly, despite being told that if you heal Cadet Rozark, you actually pull your tricorder instead. Now, this is the point at which things usually break, so I have no idea whether or not this is going to work. There's nothing further to interrupt with Rozark here. This is really quite a nicely appointed transporter. I mean, potted plants, waiting benches, recessed alcove, decent paint job. Yeah, they've definitely upgraded the interiors. So, we've come out on the other side of the hull breach. And we can just toddle around. I have orders to guard this corridor. Red alert signs starts up again. Now, there are supposed to be some Klingons here, and they're not here. As you can see, if you cross this line, it doesn't work. Yeah. This is the game break I was talking about. The Klingons you're supposed to kill with a well-placed plasma barbecue. That is supposed to start a plasma fire, which you then shut off using this console here. The scripting does not work at present, or at least it is not working reliably. I've had a few people comment about events after this. Apparently you end up returning to the bridge and treating the wounded, and I'm willing to bet that Captain Taggart is very dead by that stage. But we are stuck. I've tried this mission about half a dozen times so far. It has never actually worked for me. So I've no idea what is breaking the scripting here. However, up to this point, it generally seems to be working. I've had one problem whereby I only had 2 Klingon boarders in the transport room, so the script broke there instead. But generally, up to this point it seems to be working fine, and it's a real improvement over the old version. I have to wonder if it's going to change the intro cutscene as well, to reflect the fact that we are not thrown into the deep end at Khitomer, but rather run into the Klingons instead. Anyway, actually I want to say, no, it's the USS Khitomer that you wind up aboard in the old training mission. It's not the Khitomer system itself. I have got to stop confusing those, and when they patch this up, we will finish the job. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the first part of the new Federation tutorial. I have been Yusril, and until next time, farewell.